All right, we are back for another bite-sized episode of You and I, the letter U and I, unscripted and intentional. I know I'm going to mess this up periodically, but it's unscripted and intentional. We are here telling you something good. I'm Cheryl Parks. We've also got Joyce Chesley Hayward on the line, and we're going to be talking about just some fumbles. Okay. So I'm going to pass it to Joyce first, and then I'll pass it back. She'll pass it back to me and we'll get into craziness. All right.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. Well, we just decided let's just do a little behind the scene blooper. And so for me, the fumble I made, one of the, I guess, a bad client story, not a bad client, it was my bad decision. So I had this business that came to me, referred to me actually. They needed help. They were new in business, and I'm always wanting to help. And so they couldn't really afford my services. But I decided I would go ahead and help them. And I gave them a huge, deep discount. So I was basically going to do it all myself instead of having other people help me, because I've learned delegate, have people help. I said, I'll do it myself and I'll charge them bookkeeper rate. Okay. I'm a CFO, but I was going to do the bookkeeping and help them get started, help them in their business. And I did. And but I figured it would work itself out. Over time, they would grow, I would grow, they'd be able to pay me more. Well, complete flip opposite. They got bigger, but they got messier. They needed more and more and more, and got to the point where whenever I saw the number come up on the phone, I dreaded answering it. I was like, oh, what do they need now? And every time they would give me their books, it would be a mess, and I would just dread the work. It was drudgery. I didn't enjoy it, and I would have to say they were nice people. They were really nice people, but I dreaded doing the work. It got to the point where I said, how am I going to get out of this? Because it just got worse and worse and worse, and I couldn't see a way out. And I was losing money on it because I was spending so much time, and I was like, how do I get out of this? And I don't think I'd ever fired a client before that. Well, just as I was getting up the nerve to say, I don't think this is working out. I need to find somebody. And what I thought was, I'll find somebody else that's a real bookkeeper to do their stuff and to help them. And just as I was getting to that point, they came to me and said, Joyce, you know what? We don't think this is really working the way it could or should, but our business is kind of taking a shift, and we may be selling the business. And, I don't know if you'll be interested in continuing on with the work, but I think the company we may be selling it to, or that may be amalgamating with, they may have their own people. I was like, yeah, oh, yes, let them do it. So that's my bad client story, that I learned my lesson. One, don't start out deep discounting, because it goes south from there. Like, don't start it the wrong way. And then when you realize it's not working out, be honest. I needed to see the value in myself. And I have learned now, the bookkeeping I delegate. I don't do that stuff anymore. I have people to help me do it, because it doesn't make sense. I need to be in my lane of expertise. So I've learned my lesson. So
Hard lessons to learn, but I will tell you, they are so, so important. And it reminds me of a quote, and I know I'm going to mess this up, but it is, we should all be at the top of our practice. So the way it was explained to me is, a doctor, when you go to the doctor's office, a doctor could show you to the restroom. They could check you in and take your insurance card. They could also bring you water. But at the end of the day, they are at the top of their practice, right? And that's how they're able to maximize their ability to help people. And when we are not at the top of our practice, I always want to say practice at the top of your practice. When we're not at the top of our practice, we're doing things that kind of, I don't know, it morphs the profitability and the ability to impact. So that is a great, great story. Mine goes to my shrinking and not showing up for myself in this manner. So our utility company out here is Pacific Gas and Electric. And I had a meeting many years ago with someone in their organization, way before lockdown was locked down. The doors were locked. I think they sit next to the Federal Reserve Bank building. it's a fortress to get in there. I'm going with my manager from corporate, and we get there, and the receptionist says, "Oh, are you Michelle Parker?" And I said, "Yeah," because I used to allow people to call me Sharon, Michelle, Shelly, Sherry. It didn't matter. I was like, it's close enough. Okay. We get upstairs to this meeting in a conference room. I remember clearly. And the gentleman's very nice. Come in, sit down. We go through, we start talking. I was selling SaaS technology back then. So I was prepping him for a demonstration of the technology. And we're about 20 minutes in, and he looks at me and he goes, "Are you Michelle Parker from the ABC Furniture Company? Because I'm thinking this meeting is to buy furniture."
Oh my
I
gosh.
was mortified. We had to go. Now, mind you, not only have I been in the wrong meeting for 20 minutes, but the person I was supposed to be meeting with probably thinks I just didn't show up.
Oh my
Now we
God.
have to go back downstairs so that the receptionist can call up to the person. For 25, 28 minutes late to the next meeting.
Oh
He's
my
only got
God.
an hour, so he's only got 30 minutes left. My manager's with me. The question was, why did you let them call you Michelle Parker on the way in the building? So needless to say, that story for me is like, listen, show up for yourself. It would have taken me 3 seconds to say, "No, I'm Cheryl Parks with the company I was with, and I'm here to see so-and-so." And they would have continued to look down the list and found my name. Instead, I was like, "Yeah, it's okay. No, it's okay. I just want to get upstairs." Like, yeah, I was full on intimidated by the fact that I was in this corporate scenario decades ago. I was with my
Right.
manager. I'm sure that didn't help the situation. But at the end of the day, I didn't do myself a service. And so standing up for yourself, showing up for yourself, it goes all the way to your name. Right,
Yes.
Joyce is talking about
Yes.
a business relationship, but literally, how do you show up when people call your name? Right?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And
So,
it ties to value, how we value ourselves, that,
right.
the allowing people to not, and it's not even disrespect, it's just knowing who you are and saying,
Yeah.
I'm standing up for myself, even though I'm feeling a certain way,
Yep.
the value that we place in ourselves. But
Yeah.
all of these things are lessons. And
And
so,
they
hey,
are.
we have these things that happen. It's sometimes, and as they say, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you.
Exactly. And we're here
From
to
that, you
know about
learn.
it, right? Yeah. So again, we're trying to
Yeah,
share it so that you don't make the mistakes we made and
exactly.
waste time, energy, and money sometimes doing things that are not, there's no back into it. There's no
Exactly.
outcome. So, all
Well,
right.
I'm Joyce Chesley Hayward. As Cheryl has said, I am a external CFO. I have a company that does accounts and accounting, but my level of expertise where I am practicing at the top of my practice is to be a profit maximizer. I believe that people should love their business and love their life, because that is profit freedom.
Absolutely. And I am Cheryl Parks. I so appreciate you being with us. I am a sales accelerator coach and consultant looking to collapse timeframes and increase revenue so that you can increase the lifestyle that you dreamed about when you opened your doors to your business as a CEO, a founder, and or even as a sales team, right? So there are things sales teams can do to actually pull it together so that you can show up for yourself and accelerate your revenue outcomes. And we will be back with more. We have bite-sized topics that we just like chatting about.
You and I.
You and I. Unscripted and intentional. I'm going to get this right because that's what it is. So tell yourself something good today.
Tell yourself something good.